Welcome to the Fifth Trooper podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Fifth Trooper podcast. My name is Jay Shalansky, and joining me today is Evan, the Raccoon Bulrus.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, Evan. It's going real good.
Going real solid.
Real solid, buddy. So today's podcast is brought to you by Trash.
Hey.
So on today's podcast, we're going to talk about Evan went to PAX Unplugged. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about Jay's painting backlog. Currently, we are and some new things that I'm trying. And then I think we're just going to talk about Legion in general. I don't know. Maybe we'll throw some random topics in there like we always do. Right, Evan?
Just Legion in general.
Yeah. But let's talk housekeeping real quick. So first up, hey, if you like this podcast, the Scoundrels podcast, or our blog, or all together, support us on Patreon, because that's how we pay our writers, we pay our blog staff, we pay for the hosting services, we pay for a lot of stuff. And so if you support us on Patreon, you support all of the content. Plus, we have a Fifth Trooper After Dark podcast, so you would get another podcast for free. And also, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but the plan is we're gonna be doing Stormtide battle reports, which are going to go on our YouTube. But I think what I'd like to do as well is just do regular battle reports, Evan, and then we'll put them on the Patreon, so you can watch Patreon exclusive battle reports.
Rad.
So that we got that going. Let's talk Stormtide. So if you don't know what Stormtide is, it's a 2-player narrative campaign for Legion that we designed. We are in month 4. Month 5 is coming up. It's going to be in a few weeks. And basically, every month you get a box. You get a bunch of stuff in the box for you and your friend to play. And so we're going into box 5 and then 6. And I think there's a couple different ways you can get it right now. So number one is you could go to thefifthtrooper.com, and we have our Q1 box set, which comes with everything we put out, even the extra stuff. Or the other options are you can sign up for the monthly subscription and start at box 1. You can do the catch-up mechanism, which is basically pay for all the boxes that we have now and then sign up for a subscription and get going. I can also say very confidently that very soon we are going to have kind of like a soft, I don't want to say reset. Reset's not the right word, but we're going to have like a soft introduction where people who don't want to pay for all 6 boxes can actually jump in.
Like a jumping point, more or less.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so if you want to you kind of missed whatever happened before, but you can start here.
You can, and I think those who have worked so far into it, they're not losing anything. They're actually gaining all the stuff from before, so anything they've collected, they'll have access to moving forward. And then newer players, I'm working on a way to introduce them into it so that they don't feel too far behind, but that they feel like they can jump in and play without negatively impacting everyone who's played up until now. So that'll be interesting. And then I'm really excited. I'm going to surprise everybody here too. So if you're listening, if you're a Stormtide player, box 5 is going to have, I'm not going to tell you which ones, but I turned some cards into holiday versions of the upgrade cards, and they're going to be
cool.
Yeah, they're going to be in box 5 of Stormtide as a thank you for everybody. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, so that's that. Housekeeping. We did it.
Sure.
So Evan,
Yeah,
you went to PAX Unplugged.
I sure did.
Why don't you remind everybody what list you took?
So I took what I thought was bad, and I might have been the only guy in the room thinking it. But I just brought it because it was all Wookiees. So it's Chewie, nothing. 3 cores, 3 of the phase 1 cores with nothing on them. 3 of the melee Wookiees with Bowcaster and Tenacity, and then 3 the Fluttercraft with Bowcaster upgrade. So it's 10x, 2-point bid, which isn't. It's just because I really didn't have anything else I want to put in.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have put like a scouting scout on somebody, but turns out it's pretty good.
Okay.
Fluttercraft are pretty okay. So I went in thinking like the first game I had was with them was I was losing 1 Shuttercraft. This was before I went to PAX. I was losing a Shuttercraft a shot. More or less, I was just getting like annihilated. And I'm thinking, man, these things are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they just die. Like, these are awful. And then second game I played with them before PAX, I was having some very hot dice, and my opponent was having some very not hot dice. I'm like, well, this still isn't telling me anything. This is just they're like okay, right? Like maybe I'm getting some dice, but the first 2 games I played with them were they're good. They're like they're not OP, they're not like insane crazy powered, but they're very excellent. So my first game was against our boy Mike from Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, we traveled all that way just to play each other in the first round. That went okay. He had he brought a Gav tank with a E-Web along with some storms and a couple dewbacks. Turns out tank doesn't like things with impact and pierce. Turns out a lot of things don't like impact and pierce. Now, to his defense, he brought 3 sabs too, and so he was sabbing up the place so the Wookiees couldn't charge. So I had to like skirt around, but his defense dice were just terrible. So I had pierce 1, and I'd like 4 hits, pierce 1, and he'd roll 3 blanks and 1 block. And I'd be like, pierce 1, like so like any little hope he had. That didn't feel good to do, especially to my boy Mike. But sad times are sad. But that game went well. And then my next game was against one of our listeners, Travis, if you're listening. He had a really cool
Travis. Pew, pew, pew. Got him.
He had a really cool like Vader double dewback list. And or was it triple? I think it was double. Unfortunately, Wookiees beat up Vader. They gave him the punches. And the dewbacks don't like Fluttercraft because their main way of killing things, the chomp,
is range 1.
They can't get hit by. So his melee. So but and his dice were also his defense dice were just awful. Like I felt like I only got to play 3 games out of the 4, then I had to go due to a unforeseen event. But in the third game, which I'll get to, like even the defense dice for him were bad. Like everyone just had these like rough defense dice, and it made me feel real bad being like, oh, pierce 1, like because I know what it's like. You see 3 blanks, you're like, did I at least get 1? Yeah, I did. And they're like, no, you didn't. So that was a really fun game. And he was a very fun opponent. So I hope I get to play him again in another game. So Travis, you're a cool dude.
Travis.
He also posted a real quick tangent. He posted this picture on the Legion Facebook, and he's like, hey, I only lost 1 game and it was 7, really good game, and like I was doing a little pose like with my Fluttercraft, and the first couple are like, oh, Fluttercraft, wow, and then it just divulged into you didn't paint your minis. And let me say this. I built them on my lunch breaks at work. So like the fact that they were even built to the extent that I traveled to get them there is a feat above itself.
Here's the thing, right? Like I know it wasn't the event or anyone at the event, right? But like the thing of that is, hey, the event's letting in these random things that are just available like this week. Evan had maybe 6 days, maybe 5 days to even get them together. Those things are impossible to put together to begin with. So, I'm Evan. I'm happy that you just even brought them with you and made it. And they survived the journey. That was I
had to buy Wookiees too. I had like nothing. So I built this list, and it was just like I had to throw all this stuff together. So for the people who are saying this as a joke, you're right. For the people that weren't, too bad. So they let me in anyway, suckers. I wore a full Chewbacca outfit, and that got hot though, like in the first like 5 minutes.
I bet it did.
So that wasn't great. So I was dancing around a little bit, and you saw me like slowing down. And I took off my talking Chewbacca mask, and it was just sweat. And I went, oh god, I'm sitting down. and I brought in a fake bowcaster.
Yeah.
And like I had to I got pulled aside by security. Like, what is this? I'm like, it's just a toy. This has got no barrels. Please let me in.
Oh man, that's funny.
My third game, the one I got utterly slapped in was it was tank with all the standby. Standby sharing between Yoda and Padme, and holy smokes, was I not ready for that. So to Mike, who played it, he played an excellent game and he absolutely outplayed me. And I apologize for the amount of crying I did about so if you don't know what this list does, and we're doing Long March, and how all the terrain worked out is tank was in the middle, and both sides were blocked by terrain, and then Yoda and Padme were just hiding on the side, just feeding it standbys. So standby, they can share it. So if the tank sees anything with range 2, it can shoot whoever it wants because it's standby triggers. So he'd be like, and with all the aims and everything, via, because Padme do quick thinking, so standby dodge, and then she take a dodge, aim, and then she take a standby. And then Yoda would play We Are Luminous Beings, so he gets 2 dodges, 2 aims, 2 surges, and then he would take a standby. Then he would pull, he'd do the pull the strings, the guidance on Padme to take, if she already used a standby to take one. So as long as he didn't have one, he could pull another. That was actually insane. That thing shot 4 times a turn.
Yeah.
And he would force push. Eventually near the end, he just force pushed one of my Wookiees up just to trigger standby to put 12 damage into another group of Wookiees. I was flabbergasted. I'd never been that I've never fallen into, because normally I keep up on lists, right? I keep up what's going on. I know the tricks, and I heard about this, but the amount of damage that put out, and so with the tank has outmaneuver and access to anywhere between 6 dodges at a time, because he took Plo Koon too. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that. So he'd move up with Plo Koon and get 2 dodges. I mean, and so I'd be impact 1, pierce 1, be dodge, because he has outmaneuver. So he's oh, it's a crit. Yeah, I'm dodging that. Oh, you got 3 crits. Oh, 3 dodges. So, and then when I finally got damage and R2's just 4 damage healed, I've never that was insane. I was not ready for anything that happened. But no, he played it very well. And if different circumstances had come, if we had a different map, a different layout, different map, I chose red player. I had the bid because I wanted the board side. It wouldn't have this, we talked about it, and he had the perfect storm. Long March, the objective we got, everything was just the perfect,
for him.
This list is gonna roll like this. And he played it very well. So yeah, I'd never seen that before. I'd heard whispers of Kyle, who played it during Invader League, I think.
Yeah.
Or something. So I heard whispers of it, then to actually see it in play, and then just get Wookiees were just flying off the board. None of my Fluttercraft died. Who cares? They can't take the objectives. They're just flying around yeah, 2 damage to the tank. Tank 2 dodges. So Mike gave me the slap down, which I deserved, because I was getting pretty uppity that these Wookiees were doing pretty good. So
he ended up taking it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did. Congratulations to Mike for winning PAX Unplugged. That was a really good job. Really good show. Also, a big shout out to Nick Brobnar for bringing every terrain board. So he had 12 tables at least. And all the people who were walking by, a lot of positive comments. Yeah, everyone's holy crap, what game are you playing? Or Star Wars Legion. What? But every board looks different because they're used to board games or something, right?
Right.
And it doesn't look as miserable as a 40K board. Nick and Mike ran a great event. That was a lot of fun. They got some decent prize support. I wish I could have stayed for that. They had some really cool stuff. They even got in a Yoda and a thing of Wookiees. They 3D printed lightsabers. They did a lot of cool stuff. So
yeah, those lightsaber flasks, I think, that they give out.
That's so cool. It's for considering AMG just sent them random kits. It was mostly all the terrain too. Here's a bunker, here's a drop, the stuff off their surplus. They did a really good job making it feel like an actual event, doing some cool stuff. So absolute shout out to those guys. Legion 99 did a really good job.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to get deep into the competitive side because we'll probably talk about it on Scoundrels this week. But one of the things I wanted to talk about with Evan, and I think this is the place to talk about it, is like bringing like I think this is the time where there really isn't a meta, and I really believe that like anything can work. And as an example, like, so listen to this. Top four at PAX were, we just talked about Padme Yoda Saber, right? For first. Second was Operative Vader, triple dewback, double IRG. Third was Mike Cirillo from Legion 99. He had Kraken and the Magna Guard and Spiders. And then third place was Padme Clones Wookiees.
Yep.
And then New Orleans had an event the same time that Stabcast guys were running.
Yeah.
And the winner of that was OP Vader Gunline. And then second was our man Bushfax. He had a Han OP Luke list.
Oh.
Third was a Krennic triple DT Shoreline.
Okay.
And then
triple DT, huh?
Yeah. And then Bosk Sabs double ATST for fourth. Like this is, and so, Evan and I were talking about this was, I think there's something to be said about this game that's unlike any other miniatures game where you truly can bring something unique and win. Like you don't have to do, like, you don't have to listen to us on the Scoundrels or us here and go, oh, and I know Kyle and Mike and everybody were so high on Wookiees, and I know Evan brought Wookiees, but like, just because we're high on something and because we think that's the meta, quote unquote, I really think this game, its meta fluctuates so quickly and so fast that Wookiees are big right now, but something's going to be bigger. So like something else is going to come and knock it out of,
Yeah. After playing them, I get it. Again, like I hadn't really played. I played like one group of Wookiees once right when they came out and they just got down. I played them again when you and I played, we had that casual game and you're like ATST, like one shot them or something. It was just nuts, right? Like it was, so I'm like, oh, these are garbage. I don't see what the big deal is. Honestly, it's right now it was cool. The only thing I'm seeing on the fringe that I'm worried about is those spider tanks. They're every CIS list had like 2 to 3, and like why not? Right? Like
they're cheap and they do a lot of damage.
They're like cheap points wise, not that expensive a model, money wise, right? So you can buy 3 of them and not feel like garbage. And like they do a lot of good stuff. Like I played a pickup game on Friday with another gentleman named Nick, also a nice guy. And like those snap ships, man, not snap ships. I'm reading a message. Those snap ships, those ion things. I know. I'm sorry. I just got off track there for a minute. My brain can only handle so much. I haven't had a lot of caffeine today. Those snap ships, dog. The snap ships. Those ion shots to the Fluttercraft. Fluttercraft do not like ion. And so nothing likes ion when it gets hit by for vehicles. But he would like zap. So I have to just do my move, and then they stop. And then his whole army just went right, like just couldn't shoot. So I think if you're CIS, you should invest in them. But again, like the worst part is I thought about bringing CIS like Magna Guard something, but I ended up getting the stuff I pre-ordered the day I left. So they came in like the day I actually.
I want to talk about this. I'm all right. I'm going to complain.
Do it.
So if for those of you that don't order through Asmodee, and those of you that have, Asmodee has been having a problem. They switched their back end system, their store system, right? And so there was a point where nobody's orders were showing up for a while. Then all of a sudden they were there now, and I'm experiencing this problem. I can't log into my account. I pre-ordered all the stuff through Asmodee, right?
Yeah.
And they sent a thing saying, hey, your pre-order's coming. If you haven't logged in, we got a new system. You got to go log in, say, I forgot my password. It'll reset your password and you'll be able to get in. Yeah. It literally won't send me an email.
Oh, jeez.
Right. That says, here's your password reset link. And then on top of it, they're like, hey, if you're still having problems, you can open a ticket. I've opened 3 tickets. No one's responded to me.
You're marked.
It's been weeks.
You're blacklisted.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're still sending me my stuff. But I don't know exactly what I pre-ordered. So I also ordered stuff from Miniature Market, and now I'm getting like double and triple as shit. And I'm just going which is fine for some of it. Like I definitely needed 3 Flutter craft. I'm shaking my head no for our audio listeners, but I now have 3. I mean, some of it's good, some of it's bad, but anyways, that's just my little complaint for today.
No, that's fair. I mean, I would love to have gotten Gar Wookiees so I could have had the right models, and I didn't have to I printed out on a piece of paper and I stuck it in the sleeves, the command cards and the card. Like, would have loved to have had a card for Chewie, or actually be able to play the Wookiee Chieftain. So it just sucks. Like, it's hopefully we get him soon, because this is pretty miserable. Like, so I ordered my stuff back in July. Yeah, like it's almost a year ago.
I saw something floating around that Miniature Market updated their pre-release for those for January. So
yeah, fingers crossed. I think they just had to go. I think that whatever happened to that boat, just like the carton fell into the ocean, and then we got a Brazil X-Wing 2.0 launch. They're just gone, and so they had to make some more.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, like we're experiencing a little delay. Hopefully our mats will be in this week, but like our mats got delayed, and it took like almost 3 months for us to get mats, which usually take like 40 days or 30 days. It took almost 120. The world's weird right now, But so anyways, there's that. Hey Evan.
Yo.
Why don't you go ahead and, I think there's a lot of people probably that listen that don't get to go to events and don't get to see like PAX Unplugged. Why don't you tell us kind of overall anything cool you saw? Maybe you could talk about that game that you picked up. I know you're excited about that.
Oh, sure. So first off, I got this little guy.
He's showing a raccoon.
Yeah. he's the vagabond from a game called Root. Okay. So I was walking by, and their lender games, I think they're called, always usually has some con exclusive stuff. So you go there, and I was looking by, I'm like, oh, I've got Root. Oath looks cool. Some of the other games they make. And I saw that guy, and I walked up to the lady who was selling it. I'm like, how much do I have to pay to get that raccoon? She's like, I don't know. And so they're asking everybody, and I'm like, whatever it is. Like, I'll take it. So I got that little guy. So that was cool. Lender was there. Who else was there? Actually, GW had a cool booth. So they are pushing Warhammer Plus very hard. So we went up there to kill. I was mostly just into the kill team. They didn't have anything exclusive, so I was kind of talking to the guy. So they brought in a laser tag set with a room that's blacked out, and you put on this stuff, and you get a guard light rifle, then a bolter. And you play laser tag. And if you play laser tag and you show them you have Warhammer Plus, you get half off an Octarius box. So and some other free stuff for just doing it. Like, GW was going kind of hard, which was cool. Just a ton of crazy stuff, actually. A lot of nothing that was really blowing me away till I came to one thing. If you're an X-Wing player, I guess my standout of the show was this particular game. So if you're an X-Wing player, you've probably heard of Heroes of the Atari Cluster, or HOT AC, and it was a single player / co-op mode made by a guy who you leveled up a character, you named your ship, you bought upgrades, just cool stuff. Really awesome. So he's actually like a game designer now, which, good for you, dude. You made it. Yeah. Right? Like you're doing stuff. And we walked by this booth, and we saw these things called snap ships, and which I accidentally mentioned earlier. So snap ships, you can look them up. They're on Amazon. They're these kind of like Lego-like ships that you just snap together, and they have little like hook-in parts, so everything just like pops right in and off the ships. They're coming out with a game for it, so it's a toy line first, which is going to benefit you in one way, and then it's a game second. The game's Kickstarter starts in March. It plays like very close to X-Wing, where you move your ship. There's dials. There's like a management system of how you use your guns and everything. But anything you snap onto your ship, every little missile pod, you get a card for that. And it's all point costed. So you can have like a crazy looking ship, but just the parts you want on it. So as long as it fits on the space, like you're good to go.
Oh, that's cool.
There's 3 different like sizes of ships so far. There's gonna be ground combat coming. They actually have like a mech warrior kit, more or less, that they would have had at the show. They're just selling them so quickly online that they can't keep them in stock. So they're going to be ground combat with like vehicles. Maybe the planes can come in on that, but it plays on a 4x4 space map, and it's like missiles shoot. They actually have travel time. Like your guy can shoot down missiles as they're incoming at you. But what's really cool about this, what I mentioned earlier about the fact that they're toys, is they're priced as toys and they're not priced as models. So this cool rocket ship I'm showing right now is jet fighter. It's like $15. Like,
Yeah,
that's like for a painted thing, right? Like that's good to go. The other one I have built because I was getting in the mood. This little like guy with blades on him. Like the ship in the game when it comes out, when it rams you, it has blades on the side. You can just like ram damage and things like that. Like it's pretty sweet. But all the toys, like the most expensive models, like $30. And once you buy one of them, you only really need one.
huh.
And so they've got this really neat system where it's like cheap ships, and this cool customizable gameplay. So it's something to keep a lookout for in March. You'll probably hear me talk more about it when it comes out, because I'm super in on the fact that it's you build a Lego set, you don't have to build a model, and those are different, right? Like it's different from building a toy soldier as compared to a spaceship with like interchangeable pips and blocks. It's super affordable, and it's by a guy who's kind of knows with a thing or two about space combat in board games, but it was super neat. They say it has the same thing actually, just like clouds of different kinds of stuff to like fly through. Really awesome. So if you hear, again, I'll be pretty up on it when it comes out because I'm super into this. Snapships was like it was a little corner booth too. Like that's what kills me. Like a lot of these big companies have these huge areas that you can go around. There's tons of demos. There's an awesome Jurassic Park game coming out that the booth was like half hidden, and they had standee like in the background. They had lights showing on like T-Rexes and stuff, and like it was really awesome. But when you really looked at the booth, there's like one table inside and one guy doing demo, right? Like it was cool. There's a line for that. Like a lot of cool panels. PAX is. I was afraid that it was going to feel less after all the all the pandemic stuff we've been going through. But honestly, it felt just as good. Like I didn't have to cut it down. So PAX was a lot of fun overall. I guess my one takeaway was Snapships. There was a couple cool other like if you've never heard of Crokinole, they had a Crokinole tournament, which is like this giant wood board that you flick these wood discs to get points. They had a tournament for that. That was cool to see. Our buddy Pat bought a board, and so we're like shuffling it out of the convention like in this giant wooden box. He's like, out of the way, peasants, have a Crokinole board, right? Like so that was really good. It's like walking through the floor. There's a lot of interesting stuff, but actually one thing I did get too, so I bought some Snapships in hopes for when they come out, and I bought the newest Unmatched. They released their set. That's actually, let me grab it because I don't remember who's actually in it. But so if you go back to our older podcast, we listened to the game designers of Unmatched. We had them on. They kind of talked about it. This is their volume, Battle of Legends Volume 2. You get Sun Wukong, which is Son Goku. Yenagea, I don't know who she is, but Achilles and Bloody Mary. So that's cool. Like this wasn't out in retail yet. You could buy it online. So that was a cool something.
Was that the monkey?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the Monkey King?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So if you see, I know if you're listening, it's hard to see here. I'm showing you a box of it, but it's a Battle of Legends Volume 2. I really love this game. The game is more or less a miniature / deck game, but you don't build a deck. Your character gets, these are his cards, and you can mix and match them all. So you can have Raptors fighting Bloody Mary if you wanted to. I don't know how that works, but
like we've done the King Arthur versus like Bigfoot or King Arthur.
like
Bruce Lee versus King Arthur.
it's a game where I really hope they just release a big like a big box to hold everything in, because I'm having to carry all these like boxes for everything. It's getting a little much. But yeah, not to get off a tangent of Legion too much, but PAX was cool. Like I wish I got time to go to the panels. I plan to do that Sunday because they had Shut Up and Sit Down, who just board game reviews were there. That would have been cool to hear. They had it's like some miniature painting. GW was there. They had like, yeah, I don't remember how much exactly the entry fee was, but you got a model and a whole set of paint. You have to sit in like this area, this walled off area to paint your miniature. That was cool.
Yeah.
Like PAX is also has some of those friendly people. Everyone's just kind of chill. Like from other conventions I've gone to, everyone's very just like,
I'd agree.
hey, man,
you know,
whatever.
so I've been to PAX Unplugged once, and it was like out of all the conventions I've been to, you're right. It was just like way more friendly atmosphere. Like everybody just seemed like chill there. Where I feel like at Gen Con or like Adepticon, I love both of those too. It's just it feels more, maybe I don't know, serious if it's the word, or competitive. You know, LVO the same way, right? It's like it just feels more competitive. Where I think because PAX Unplugged doesn't really have any, though they had a tournament, it was, you know, they don't have any.
Like
it's not official stuff or like a big, you know, prominent tournament like LVO.
Yeah, it's not like High Command or whatever they're calling it now, right?
Or Adepticon, right? So yeah, I really liked PAX Unplugged. That was the one I went to was when Keyforge first came out.
Yeah,
and remember those pods? And you paid $10 and you got the deck and you got in a pod, and if you won, so your deck was random, so you didn't know what you were getting, but if you won, you got those you got the ambers and stuff. That was a ton of fun.
Man, that's a game that kind of came and went, huh?
Well, I think COVID killed it, right? It was because it's a big tournament game.
It's a lot like in person.
Yeah, and I think the other thing they made the mistake with was making it competitive, where like now I'm on this chase for these decks.
Oh, yeah. So it's supposed to be the ultimate, like, you don't need to buy cards deck, but then you end up buying
like
a ton of decks to get. Yeah.
Like remember the Horseman and like that whole phase, dude.
I got double Horseman. It's like a $3,000 deck. I had a double Time Traveler deck that I still keep like sealed. It's worth nothing now, but I'm like, holy crap, OJ, holy crap.
Yeah, I know. And but I think the best part of that was those pods that they did, where it was like, or even if you did a sealed where you just go, and if it's not a pod, but it's a tournament for the day, but you don't get to choose your deck. It's just like, okay, here's $10. You get a deck, you're in the tournament, and whoever wins, you know, and I just, you know how to play the game, you know how the game works, but other than that, it's all kind of random on who gets what deck. I think that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, agree.
But yeah, so that's good. It sounds like PAX was fun. I'm sorry I couldn't make it this year. But you know, we're Fifth Trooper is planning on, we have a booth at Adepticon this year. And you know, I'm gonna try to get booths at some other events moving forward in 2022. So we're hopefully going to be at a bunch of events next year. So you know, that'll be fun to be out and get to see everybody.
No, sure.
I mean,
overall, good time.
Good. Yeah. Good. Let's see. What do I want to talk about? Oh yeah. So I'm working on and Evan, when you get here, we talked last podcast about the artistic insanity that is Jay's office.
Oh yeah.
So I spent the weekend really reorganizing it, and because I do this, Evan knows this, like it gets to a point where I'm just like, okay, and like I have to like clean it all up and reorganize everything. And one of the things was now you know, I plan on doing battle reports for not only Stormtide, but for, you know, just regular Legion battle reports too. And I'm like, okay, you know, we have talked about this a couple times, but I'm like trying to build all the units for each faction, so that like if Evan comes over and we want to do a battle report, it's not like the same old. So Evan can go and look and be like, okay, I'm going to build a 800 point droid army, you know, and we'll have everything that you could want. But I've been really, I ended up buying the Army Painters airbrushing set.
Oh yeah.
The like the mega set or whatever with all the airbrush paint. Dude, those are so good. And so like I posted it up on the Fifth Trooper, but also in the Legion Facebook group, the painting Facebook group, some of my pictures, but like, oh man, like I've been crushing it. Like, man, airbrushing is so much easier
Yeah.
and faster. Easy's the wrong word. It's hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get into like this. Like, I was watching a ton of YouTube videos. Like, I was talking to Kyle from the Scoundrels. He's really good at airbrushing. Like, and Dustin, our in-house painter, and asking him questions and tips. And so I'm really happy. I'm feeling like I've gotten to a place where I'm really comfortable with it now. Or comfortable enough. You know, I learn something new every day, but I'm really excited about that. And so let's see. In the past week, I got the snail tank done for droids. So I'm trying to finish up one army at a time. And so droids is the first one I'm trying to finish up. I got snail tank done, an AAT done, 2 of the spider droids, 3 sets of B2s, and then I'm working on the 3 super tactical droids right now, and getting those done. And then I got to do another spider so we can have 3, and then 2 Magna Guard, and then we'll have, and you know, because we already have like B1s,
Yeah.
we already have all the other stuff, you know, so staps and everything else. So yeah, so I'm hoping maybe in another week or so I should
Okay.
have basically everything set for the droids and painted.
Wow. Okay. That's
Which
quite a
is
bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
really excited about. And then I think the next one I'm going to move on to is Rebels. So I have a ton for Rebels already done. I had Dustin over at Jagged Brush. I actually had him do the party bus for me, and also he did 3 sets of the vets for me. And then I have a ton of I just have everything else kind of already painted. So then I have a couple sets of 3 sets of Wookiees. I have another speeder, a T-47, and some other stuff. But so hopefully we'll be doing some battle reports with fully painted models, which I'm excited.
Fully painted, and they at least look like somewhat real as compared to all mine, who are like just all over the place. I have half an idea, I'll start doing it, and I have another half an idea, and I'll start doing it.
Yeah.
The Tron theme for my Gar, I have no idea how I'm going to do that with the Wookiees or like the Fluttercraft. Fluttercraft.
Yeah.
Speaking of like painting Fluttercraft, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I had to more or less break mine down like in bits when I took them home, because I put little dabs of glue to keep them on their stuff. And Nick was very kind. He's like, I'm like, yo, can I just leave my 3 Fluttercraft here? Can you put them in your terrain boxes? Like,
Yeah.
I just can't bring these back to my room. He's like, yeah, man, I got you. So we took that out. And when I was taking them down to leave, like things were breaking off. Like, I don't, whatever. Like, I'm just breaking them down. Like, I gotta go. So I gotta like magnetize them all, which is a pain because they're not easy to travel with.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, I always wondered like what the difference is, like what the breakdown is when a person's making a model. When they're sculpting it, right, or trying to get it accurate as they can, how much they're thinking about how someone's actually got to get it to a place, right? Like
they're not.
Yeah, so which is a shame because like all the little antenna on that spider droid, that one that goes all the way up, like that's gonna break.
Yep.
Like you can do your best, and if you get them there all the time, they're perfect. Hallelujah. But when I've got one battle foam bag and that's all the room I have in there to like micromanage what's going on, like I know I'm a little fast and loose with how I carry my stuff sometimes. Like the Wookiees are soft plastic. Who cares? Like I put them in like a cup more or less. I'll just dump them out when we get for the thing. I just had like my foam with like my clones, Chewie, all my Wookiees, just dumping them out for the match and sorting them out. But like the model, like the vehicles, they're expensive and they're not soft plastic, right? Like they're hard plastic for most of them. So trying to figure out how to transport those guys is just kind of nuts.
Yeah, and I know I kind of sound like a broken record, but like when we originally started Legion, I think, if you guys listen back, or Evan can confirm, but like I was so excited about the soft plastic, and because I understand that it's not as detailed of a model, but you know what the difference is? Evan can throw all those in a bucket and
Mhm.
then dump them out on the table and nothing's going to break.
Yep.
You can't do that now with the hard plastic stuff
No.
because it's just so delicate,
Yeah, no, it's kind of a pain. Like I used to just like when people would come talk to me about Legion before the hard plastic comes, I just like knock some of my snow troopers on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, holy crap! I'm like, nah, it's soft plastic. Like it,
Right.
whatever.
It's all
Like
good. Yeah.
pop off the base. I'll just put some more glue in their feet. Like whatever. Then again, I'm pretty fast and loose with a lot of my stuff, but the hard plastic, I'm like, because you have to put so much more time investment to get them right.
Yeah.
So like I'm very much more careful with those. But yeah, no, it's definitely like a pain, like trying to those Fluttercraft. If I cared, if I had them painted and I put a lot of work into them and have beautiful bases for them, like if I really cared about them, like because people do, and I understand it. I don't know how you get them any reasonable way.
Yeah.
Like, from an event that's not like your next shop over where you can just kind of put them in the back of your car, right? And they're kind of like safe. But if you have to travel, like, good Lord, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I think that's going to become the problem, right? Is as these things become more elaborate, like how in the hell are we going to travel with this stuff? Like I'm already like trying to think about it and coming up with crazy ways of doing stuff and going, okay, it's almost like you got to build a custom carrier just to get, your stuff anywhere. Yeah. And I mean, like, or even those ones, I've seen those ones, I don't know who makes them, but they're the like, they're basically like a rack and they have like metal
Mhm.
and then you magnetize the bases and they don't move and nothing touches them. And yeah, but even then, right, it's not guaranteed that they're going to stay still. Like if your plane has turbulence or your car has turbulence
Yeah.
or you trip and like
Magna Rack, right?
yeah.
I guess same. Like one of the guys I know does Magna Rack, and he puts it like bolts them and he puts them in there.
Yep.
But even then, again, you're right. Like, because is that your carry on? Is your miniatures, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have like my backpack with my laptop. Like, I love my miniatures, but like, that's a check thing, I think. Like, so you put it in your luggage, right? You put your bag in your luggage, and you kind of hope it doesn't like get smashed. But then it's getting those guys in the back who are just doing the luggage, just like, yep, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they don't know.
Yeah, right. So I guess like you have to keep them as you carry on, but
right.
like I don't know. Like,
it's rough. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I don't know how these hey, if you travel a lot and you have got like you carry your miniatures around with you, give us some ideas. It's like, yeah, I'd like to go to like LVO or something. No idea how getting those Fluttercraft there. Like,
yeah, I know. I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, I don't even know how I'm gonna do it. Like, I like some of this other stuff. Like, I don't even like the tanks and stuff, or the ATSTs, right? Like, luckily, the ATSTs I built them in a way where I don't care. I just throw them in the box and it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like, I may change my mind and want to play something, or like if the lat ever becomes good and I want to bring that somewhere, like,
yeah, that sucked. Yeah, that was when I transported my ACO. That wasn't fun. I had to like custom foam something, like rip it all up to do it. I guess I could do the same thing I tried to do the same thing with the Fluttercraft, but yeah, man, it's these. I love how elaborate the models look. I don't want to paint them because there's so much going on.
Yeah,
and / traveling with them is like I don't know how you bring. Like honestly, like I was really just thinking about. So I brought it all the Wookiees. It was a meme, right? It was.
Yep.
It was just what I thought it was going to be a meme. But if I was real serious, like, I don't know, right? Like, do I just not even bring the Fluttercraft? Do I just bring infantry,
right?
Like a whole infantry army, so I could just stick them all in like a cup, like close it up and then just throw it in my bag, like. So that's something you got to think about too. I almost brought a whole just Imperial ISF list, like Iden, DO, two ISF, Inferno Squadron, some shores, some mortars, right? Something very like bog standard. But the nice thing about that is I can put them in like a shoebox.
Yeah.
You know, right? And it doesn't really matter. Like they're not. You put some foam in there so they don't get all smashed up, but there's nothing really spindly or really easily breakable in there. So you can put them all in that, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? Yeah. So that does definitely crossed my mind.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
Dying.
Yeah. Let's see what else do I want to end. Let's end on. You know what I've been really thinking about a lot lately and really interested in, which is new, is the like alt sculpt stuff.
Oh, sure.
Oh my God. So one of the things I want to do is, like I said, I'm getting all the minis together for all the factions so that we have stuff to play. But I've been
oh God.
I need a drink. There we go. And I'm on the Skullforge Patreon, dude. I'm so excited. There's two that I'm really excited about. The one is he's got the Yoda like jumping up and putting his saber through like a B1 droid or a clone trooper, like for the Order 66.
Yeah.
So good. I'm like
those are cool. So he does the Dune stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is super rad. But honestly, so I've been playing Halo Infinite, and there used to be a Halo Clicks game. It was very not balanced. And I chased the hell out of it, buying those packs, and you get like Warthog and all sorts of cool stuff in it. I'm thinking, man, if someone could just make like sculpts for this for Legion, they could just be like Imperial, like right, Stormtroopers. Just they've got armor and a crappy gun, and you add like your heavy gun to the troop, or a Master Chief could just be like I'm spitballing off the top of my head here. It could be like a Callus sort of character, right, with a swappable gun. Like I would love, man, like theme armies really do it for me, that are like not just a bog standard stuff, but having like a whole Dune themed army with Thopters instead of Fluttercraft, right? Or having like a Covenant, I don't know, maybe grunts or B1s. Yeah. Right. Just have a bunch of grunts in a group, and then you have the elites or B2s or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, spitballing here, but having alt sculpts, that kind of thing really does it for me. So, let's do this. Let's do a little Halo clicks. Let's see what the price of those clicks is. And maybe we can make it work. You know what? You're probably not wrong. Oh, here we go. Halo clicks. Oh, well, no, eBay. That's not a good sign. Okay, you know what? Nobody cares about them. The Warthog's only $60.
Whoa.
Oh, that was so. The Warthog actually was pretty cool. It had movable wheels, and it was on a little stand climbing a rock, so it could you could play with it as a toy, I guess, or you could use it for the game. But you can get Master Chief and Arbiter pack. He looks good enough for $10. All right, okay. Action clicks. Oh, maybe we're onto something here. Maybe a little. They actually even make a scarab, which is that giant thing from Halo 2.
Oh yeah.
That was like a big thing you could play. That'd be a cool piece of terrain to have like a Halo board. I'm talking myself into this right now. I'm like, yeah, I could just buy this lot of Spartans and make an army. With the silhouette rules, though, you can kind of do what you want, right? Like it's
I mean, the only time it gets weird is with vehicles. But yeah, for any, like, that's the thing with the Yoda one, right? Like, even though he's going to be as tall as a B1, it just won't matter because he uses a silhouette anyways.
Yeah, and plus it's cool. Like the nice thing about having alt sculpts that are still Star Wars, as long as they're doing something cool, nobody really cares, right? Like everyone's kind of
and you just got to have a backup in case somebody does, and then you're like, all right, fine, here's Yoda. And I really think people only get the silhouettes were the best thing, and people only get weird now with vehicles, right? And even then they barely get weird. It's mostly like line of sight stuff, can your vehicle see that? Are you looking from the guy's head or the top of the vehicle, or how tall did you make your ATST, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Because man, these Banshees could be airspeeders from T-47s.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm starting to talk
I think the Halo is you actually make it Rebels, because
Yeah.
what you do is you make
Oh,
all
yeah,
the U.S. Marines there. You make those the
Troopers.
rebel core troopers.
Yeah.
And then Master Chief is like Sabine or Luke or somebody.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sabine would make sense, right?
And then you got
Gunslinger.
the T-47s, and then they have the party bus now, which could be a Warthog
Well, not even the part. So I'm looking at it, right? It could just be the land speeder,
or the land speeder,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
it has the 3 seats. The model comes with the Warhog gunner,
Yep.
Chief driving, and then a guy sitting in the side seat. So that could just be your like,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And they're all pre-painted.
We'll have
Okay.
to look around and see if anybody's got STL models.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is
Oh, you want pre-painted? Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, look,
I forgot who I was talking to. Yeah, let's get you some pre-painted ones, pal.
Me to work, sir. That's impossible.
I don't want you to deck prime or anything else.
Look, everybody knows.
Everybody
knows
does
I have
know.
problems. All right, I got some problems.
But all right, well, I think we'll wrap it up, Evan. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it sounds good.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Join us again next week. And, don't forget to read our blog or listen to the Scoundrels or do whatever you like, actually.
Just do whatever you want.
Just do whatever you want. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
Have a great one, guys.
Join us next week for another edition of the Fifth Trooper podcast.
This has been a Fifth